James had always trusted Emily. Their marriage wasn't perfect, but he believed in the vows they had taken. He worked long hours to provide for them, but he never imagined that his dedication would become the very thing that drove a wedge between them. He had noticed the distance growing, the coldness in her touch, the way she hesitated before answering simple questions, but he never thought it would come to this. It had been an exhausting day at work, and he was just looking forward to a quiet evening. The moment he pulled into the driveway, however, something felt wrong. The front door was slightly ajar, a small detail that sent a wave of unease through him. His heart thumped as he stepped inside. The living room was a disaster. The coffee table was flipped over, shards of glass from a broken picture frame littered the floor, and the couch cushions had been tossed around as if a storm had torn through the house. A lamp lay shattered near the entrance. His pulse quickened. "Emily?" he called, his voice echoing through the eerie silence. Then a soft sob came from upstairs. He rushed up, taking 2 steps at a time, his mind racing with worst-case scenarios. He pushed open their bedroom door to find Emily sitting on the bed, clutching her phone tightly, her shoulders shaking with sobs. Her mascara was smeared and her hair was disheveled. She looked up at him with wide, tear-filled eyes. "James!" she gasped. "Thank God you're home!" His stomach twisted as he took in the scene. Their bedroom was in complete disarray. Clothes were thrown everywhere. The mirror had a long crack running through it, and the nightstand drawers were pulled out and dumped onto the floor. He swallowed hard, forcing himself to remain calm. "What happened?" Emily wiped her face with trembling hands. "Someone broke in," she whispered. "I was so scared. They trashed the house, James. I barely got away." His eyes darted around the room, searching for signs of forced entry. But something didn't feel right. The door hadn't been kicked in. The window was still locked from the inside. If someone had broken in, why did it look more like a fit of rage than a burglary? Then he saw it. Half hidden under the bed was a leather jacket. A men's leather jacket. But it wasn't his. His blood ran cold. Slowly, he crouched down and pulled it out, his fingers tightening around the familiar material. It smelled of cologne, one that didn't belong to him. His heart pounded so hard he could hear it in his ears. He turned back to Emily, his expression unreadable. "Whose jacket is this?" Her face went pale. I don't know," she stammered. James clenched his jaw. "Emily," he said, his voice dangerously calm, "tell me the truth." Her breath hitched, her lips parting as if searching for the right words. But then, something in her shifted. The sobs stopped abruptly. Her teary expression twisted into something darker, something furious. "You weren't supposed to come home early," she snapped, her voice dripping with anger. James flinched. "Excuse me." "You're always working, always too busy for me," she spat. "I needed something more." The air in the room became suffocating. The words stung, but before he could process them, Emily grabbed the nearest object, a lamp, and hurled it at him. He barely dodged as it shattered against the wall. "Emily, what the hell are you doing?" he shouted. But she wasn't done. She tore at the sheets, knocked over the dresser, sending drawers crashing to the floor. She clawed at her own arm, raking red marks into her skin, before collapsing onto the ground, wailing like a wounded animal. James stood frozen, watching in horror as realization hit him like a freight train. She was staging it. The front door left open, the wrecked house, the sobbing, the fake story. She had planned this. And then, in the distance, the sound of sirens wailed through the night. Emily's shoulders shook as she took a deep, shuddering breath, her eyes now gleaming with something wicked beneath the fake tears. She had called the police. James' chest tightened with panic. She was setting him up. He looked down at the chaos around him, at the destruction she had caused with her own hands. But by the time the cops arrived, it wouldn't matter. All they would see was a crying, bruised woman and a stunned, silent man standing in the middle of it all.